Hi again, it's John Whitehead. I'm a leadership and executive coach, and welcome to this week's video blog post. In my work, I coach senior and emerging leaders in organizations, lots of different organizations, from professional sports teams, the front office staff, to mining companies, companies in other resource sectors like lumber, also in the gaming industry, board games, video games, apps, software development. I have a very wide-ranging portfolio of clients. My focus is on the professional sports team and those in that world with the front office people. And of course, right now they've had a very, very difficult year. And you know that over the last number of weeks, I have been exploring Marshall Goldsmith's work, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, and his 20 habits that keep you from the top that are inside that book. And we're into week 18 now of that cycle. And his 18th habit is punishing the messenger. Punishing the messenger. Now, I hear from a lot of people in the sports world who have had a very difficult world this last year with the COVID pandemic. And of course, a lot of teams just stopped playing. They haven't been able to put fans into the stadium. And many people had purchased season tickets or tickets to multiple games, and therefore phoning up upset, mad, right? Yelling at the people on the phone, the folks who were the customer service reps of these teams. It wasn't their fault that there was a pandemic. It wasn't their fault that shutdown rules came in place and fans weren't allowed in the stadiums, or games even stopped for a while. And even when they restarted again, fans weren't allowed, or if they are, just limited numbers. But people picked up the phone and took out their frustrations on them. They punished the messenger. They punished the messenger. And we do that, when you think about that, punishing the messenger, you think of people, a whistleblower. There are whistleblower laws in place to prevent whistleblowers from being fired for coming forward with their truth of the situation. There are a lot of social challenges that we face where people come forward with social issues, abuse, for example. And there are laws to protect the person that comes forward with those allegations. So, because history has taught us that often we turn on those people. We punish the messenger. So there are those big cases. But you know what? It happens at the minute case too. It happens at the micro level. You know, somebody, you make a snort, a derision. Yeah, right. You roll eyes at somebody. You dismiss them quickly because you don't want to hear it. So you send them off. That's a form of shooting the messenger too. Marshall, in his book, says this, and I think it's important enough that I want to read it, and I don't often do that, but today I wanted to do that. He says, punishing the messenger is like taking the worst elements of, and these are some of the habits we've already talked about, the 20 habits. The worst elements of not giving recognition, hogging the credit, and passing the buck, and making destructive comments and not thanking or listening, which is what we just finished talking about the last 2 weeks, right? And then adding anger to the mix. So punishing the messenger is like taking the worst elements of not giving recognition, hogging the credit, passing the buck, making destructive comments, and not thanking or listening, and then adding anger to the mix. And as I said, it can be in big or little ways. We talked last time about listening and about slowing down, right? And then we talked last week about saying thank you. So how did the exercise go that I asked you to do? where I asked you to think about things, think about saying thank you and making a conscious effort or putting it on your list, saying thank you. What about the week before when I talked about the need to slow down and listen? Slowing down and listening. How many of you took me up on that, about the need to slow down and maybe listen, and asking that pause question? Because if you dismiss that person very quickly, you don't say thank you to them, that's a form of shooting the messenger. How are they feeling as they walk away? And again, what about your own personal experience? Have you ever gone to your supervisor or manager with a problem and you walked away, he came down on you on it? Interesting, isn't it? There's been a theme to these past number of weeks, and it's a theme I touch on with my clients, and that's self-awareness, raising your own personal self-awareness, because that's where the change happens. If you don't know about yourself, what you're doing, we can recognize it so well in others, but if you don't know what you're doing yourself, how can you start making changes? If that's resonating with you and you'd like to learn more, at the end of this video is my email address. Send me an email, reach out to me, and let's have a time just to have a 30-minute conversation. No strings attached, just have a 30-minute conversation. I'd be happy to do that. And also, don't forget to sign up for my blog post. And if you do, I'll send you a free copy of my book, What Are These Things Called Soft Skills? Again, thank you for listening this week, and we hope to see you again next week. Take care.